Going on, everybody? It's JetsCentral coming back with another video, and in this one I wanted to try to predict where the top 2019 free agents are going to be landing. All right, free agency literally kicks off in less than a week, and I could not be more excited. A quick little side note though, March 13th and March 14th, the first 2 days of free agency, I'm going to be posting full individual recaps and breakdowns of every single signing that happens as soon as it happens too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to experience it with you guys, and really just to see what you guys have to say down below in the comments, like regarding each signing. So it should be a lot of fun, and let's hop right into the video. So the first guy up, think of it as a bonus because he's not an unrestricted free agent. He's not a restricted free agent, but this is a big name that's definitely going to be on the move. I don't see him being a Pittsburgh Steeler. It's Antonio Brown, right? And the team I have trading for Antonio Brown is the Oakland Raiders. Now, the Oakland Raiders have been linked to AB since he requested the trade, and there's been, a multitude of different teams that have expressed interest in Antonio Brown, but haven't really been as committed as the Raiders are. I mean, the Titans expressed interest. The Eagles have kind of seen what's up with him. Who else? The Jets have also inquired, but the Oakland Raiders have stood pat. Since day one, the Raiders have made it clear they want this guy, okay? And I really think it's down between the Raiders and the Redskins. Those are the top two teams that I see Antonio Brown going to. Really at all. I don't see, unless like a dark horse team comes out of the, just comes out of nowhere, like the Cardinals or something like that. But the Raiders have the money to pay him. They desperately need a wide receiver. They need that number one wide receiver. And when you take a look at Jonathan Gruden, right, he's shown in the past that he's willing to take players that have kind of off the field issues. Arden Key, Marshawn Lynch, Martavis Bryant is another guy, right? Guys that are somewhat hard to work with, right? Their personality might not be for everybody, but Gruden fully believes in himself, and he believes that he could turn players around. And not only does does he check all those boxes, right? He had they need him. All the money in the world to pay him. Gruden wants to go out there and make an effort to sign this guy, all that stuff, but he's also a perfect fit for the Raiders offense, and no matter who's playing quarterback, whether it's Derek Carr, they want to go out and get a rookie. I've seen rumors that that Gruden likes Kyler Murray, whatever. Antonio Brown makes that quarterback better on the field, right? Now, he will go out there and complain if you're not throwing the football to him and whatnot, but bottom line is this: the Oakland Raiders desperately need a wide receiver, and they could be getting a top 5 wide receiver at a premium price. It's not like they'd have to give up the 4th overall pick or one of their later first-round picks. You could get this guy 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really do believe that the Oakland Raiders, the team that stood pat next to the Steelers this whole time, I think that's the team that's going to wind up with AB. Them are the Redskins, but I really think it's going to be Oakland. So next up, Nicholas Foles, right? Nick Foles, quarterback from the Philadelphia Eagles. This one's pretty obvious. I see him going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I look at teams that need quarterbacks, right? The Dolphins, and not really in a position to sign Foles, kind of a guy that's past, he's up there in age. Really don't have an offensive line for him, so I don't think the Dolphins are going to make a move. Who else? Denver Broncos, they just traded for Joe Flacco. They have Case Keenum on the roster. It doesn't make sense. Washington, could be right, in division rival, could have intel on the Eagles. That could be a nice little signing right there. Giants, maybe, but I don't really think they have the guts to go out there and do it. So I think when it's all said and done, Nick Foles to the Jacksonville Jaguars, it makes a lot of sense. He could just hand the ball off. He doesn't have to throw it 40 times a game. He could really just live in the range of throwing it anywhere from 19 to 28 times per game. Don't turn the ball over. He's shown an ability to do that during his first stint with the Eagles with Chip Kelly. Overall, it makes a lot of sense on paper. And plus, a quick little thing to note as well is that John DeFilippo, his quarterbacks coach over there in Philly, is now the Jaguars offensive coordinator. Makes a lot of sense, right? There's a lot of connecting dots here. So the main question is, can Nick Foles, or can the Jaguars sign Foles, right? Because he's probably going to ask for 15 to 20 something million dollars, annually, and chances are you're not just going to sign him on a 1-year contract. So if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, you make a few cuts: Malik Jackson, Tayshaun Gibson, guys that are expendable. You could save money there. Go out there and sign Nick Foles. So next up, we have Le'Veon Bell, running back from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I am signing with the New York Jets. Yes, the New York Jets. I look at the New York Jets in all seriousness. I look at the Jets. They lack in so many different areas, right? We don't have a number one wide receiver. We don't really have that number one running back. Isaiah Crowell is rumored to be released for whatever reason. I don't necessarily agree with that. We have the money to pay him. We have a young rookie quarterback in Sam Darnold who needs playmakers, who needs help around him, right? Players to, whether it's on the field, right, just dumping the ball off to him in the flat, or just mentally, right, psychologically knowing, hey, I got a top 5 running back standing next to me at all times, right? I can hand the ball off to him. I could throw it to him. Whatever the case may be, I have a top player in this league that is respected by his peers, by coaches, by fans, by players, whatever, all across the league, standing next to me at all times. This guy is a proven beast. The Jets are one of those teams that's kind of desperate for playmakers. Like I said, they have the money to afford him. And I do see Le'Veon being, there's being rumors that he could sign with the Bucs, the Dolphins, the Raiders, possibly the Eagles. But when I look at all those teams, maybe even the Colts, but I feel like with all those teams, they have one underlying reason why they shouldn't. Like the Eagles, they can't afford them. Buccaneers, too much of a transition. Dolphins, rebuilding team. The Jets, right now with Le'Veon Bell, that's the one team that just makes the most sense on paper. It checks the most boxes for both parties involved. Le'Veon Bell, he wants to be treated like the franchise player. He doesn't want to be disrespected by his team and by coaches and players and whatnot, like kind of how he was in Pittsburgh. He goes to New York, one of the biggest cities in the world. And he's going to be front and center on like the little brother team in New York, right, to the New York Giants. He's going to be front and center, being the best player on that offense. So I think it's a very, very favorable destination for Le'Veon Bell. So moving on, we have Landon Collins, the safety from the New York Giants. The Giants aren't going to be tagging Landon, so he's expected to become an unrestricted, or he will become an unrestricted free agent. I'm signing with the Indianapolis Colts, right? The Colts have so many young players on defense that I love. Quincy Wilson, Darius Leonard, Malik Hooker. They have a lot of nice pieces, okay? And at that safety position, I believe Geathers is a unrestricted free agent as well. I liked him at UCF, but he's going to be hitting the market. So you have that hole, that vacancy at that strong safety position. And the Colts, Chris Ballard, they want high character guys. They want leaders. They want leaders of men. Landon Collins has not only had a lot of production over his time with the Giants, but he's had a major impact in the community, in the locker room. That's what Chris Ballard wants. He wants productive players that are high character individuals. Landon Collins checks those boxes. The Colts have enough money to pay him as well. It's not like they're in cap hell or anything crazy. And I keep seeing these Giants fans out there, they keep on complaining about, oh, he's not that good in coverage. He's not that good in coverage. All right, well, don't play him in coverage, right? Play him, make sure he's that box safety. Make him or play him like Jamal Adams of the New York Jets, where he doesn't have a lot of responsibility in coverage. Malik Hooker is one of the best, or he showed in college that he's one of the best free safeties at ball hawking ability, tracking the ball down. He could cover a lot of ground. He has great instincts. Let Malik Hooker do a lot of the work in with the free safety position, and play Landon Collins up near the box. He's a great player. He's an underrated player. It makes no sense why the Giants are letting him go. But it's funny too, because like the Colts have some nice defensive backs that I like. George Odom's another guy who I like, coming out of, I believe it was Central Arkansas a few years back, undrafted, or last season. All in all, the Colts need talent on this defense. They have some young talent, but go get a proven leader, a productive player in Landon Collins. They have enough money to pay him. Colts, Landon Collins. Next up, Trey Flowers, defensive end, edge rusher from the New England Patriots. I'm signing with the Miami Dolphins. I look at the Dolphins right now, and they are just talent deprived. They have some nice pieces: Xavier Howard, Kiko Alonso, Minka Fitzpatrick, one of my favorite players in the league. Versatile, safety, cornerback, whatever, nickel corner, does a lot of different things. But the Miami Dolphins right now, especially on the defensive side of the football, they don't really have any great defensive line members, right? I really feel like Trey Flowers to the Miami Dolphins, it makes a lot of sense. He's versatile. You could play him on the inside. You could play him on the outside. You could play him in a 4-3 and a 3-4. A lot of versatility there. You could use him as that chess piece on the defensive line. You also take a look at Brian Flores and O'Shea. They're coming down to Miami from New England. Flores has worked with Flowers his whole entire career. You can steal him from a rival, plug him in on your team. And he's a soft-spoken individual. He's going to come into Miami. It's not going to be a situation like Jarvis Landry or Ndamukong Suh where they're constantly running their mouth to the media. He's a soft-spoken guy, kind of a quiet dude. He just puts his head down and work. That's what I feel like Miami That's what I feel like Miami kind of needs. They don't need stars and egos. They need just workers. And I feel like Trey Flowers kind of fits that bill. So Flowers to the Miami Dolphins. Next up, Tyronn Mathieu, safety from the Arizona Cardinals and the Houston Texans, was traded to the Texans last season, but really made his name for himself at LSU. He was slipped in the draft, went to the Cardinals late, mid round, and I have him signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now the Bucs right now are in an interesting position because they have so much firepower on offense, but the defense is just horrendous, right? Overall numbers on defense just show that this is just a horrible team. And yes, they are skewed a little bit. Horrible defense, excuse me. The numbers are skewed because the division that they play in and on how good their offense is as well. They're always putting up points, so the defense has to counteract the pass all the time. So you need defensive backs. You need guys that are versatile. What is Tyronn Mathieu? He's a strong safety. He's also great in that nickel position. You also take a look at who is his head coach over in Arizona. Bruce Arians. Who's the coach in Tampa? Bruce Arians. Also, Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay was there with him in his early stages of development with the Cardinals. Tyronn Mathieu absolutely loves Todd Bowles and Arians. This makes a lot of sense. They have a huge hole at that safety / nickel cornerback position. If it's not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I also see him going to the New York Giants because with the departure of Landon Collins, they have that hole there. And James Betcher runs, he came from Arizona, runs that same 3-4 system. He has previous work with Mathieu. Moving on, we have Ezekiel Ansah, the defensive end from the Detroit Lions. I have him signing with the Oakland Raiders, right? Another pickup for the Raiders. The Raiders right now they're in a position right now where they have so much cap availability, and their defense was just, not only is it talent deprived, but there was just no production on it, especially getting after the passer. They could not stop the run, and they could not get after the passer. Zeke Ansah is a guy right now who's coming off a down season. I believe he suffered an injury as well, but he's shown in the past that he can get after the passer consistently. In that span of the 1 year, I think he had like 12 or 14 sacks one season 2 years ago, and it was just an amazing overall season for Ansah. I think the Oakland Raiders are looking at him like, okay, we're desperate for pass rushers. We'll overpay a little bit for Ansah to get him in the building, even though he hasn't really produced as of late. We could try to recreate some of his magic, and pairing him next to Paul Guenther, I think right now, like right off the bat, he becomes your number one pass rusher on the team. And it's pretty enticing if you're a Raider fan looking at a guy like Ansah. He's not a top end guy like a Von Miller, Khalil Mack, J.J. Watt type of player, but he's kind of in that middle tier. If you could get him, you're gonna have to overpay for him. It's still pretty intriguing if you're an Oakland Raider fan. Also, he picked up football so late in his career, and maybe a change of scenery will help him out. Because he was from, I believe, Ghana, went to BYU as a basketball player, didn't work out. And tried out for football. Long story short, made the team and dominated. First round pick by the Lions. So even though he's kind of up there in age, he still has a lot of football left in his tank. Physical phenom as well. So next up, we have Anthony Barr, linebacker from the Minnesota Vikings, outside linebacker, I should say. I'm getting signed by the Tennessee Titans. Now, this was a pretty close call because I could see Barr going in a lot of different directions, whether it's with the 49ers, the Tennessee Titans, the New York Jets, maybe the Buffalo Bills, even though it's not the best system fit. But I think at the end of the day, Barr to the Titans makes a lot of sense because Arakpo is going to be leaving. They're going to have that vacancy at that outside outside linebacking position. They run the 3-4 over there in Tennessee. Their defense is top notch, and he's the perfect fit for that Mike Vrabel style, that Mike Vrabel defense where he's just a hard-nosed player. He's not afraid of anybody. Yes, down the stretch, he took some plays off, but I think pairing him up next to Mike Vrabel, it'll really light a fire underneath him, and it's going to be an amazing fit just schematically and on the field, right? X's and O's wise. He could do a lot for a defense, and he really makes up for a lot of weaknesses on the defense. So this is a guy right now that I'm looking at as a perfect fit for the Tennessee Titans. They might not be making a ton of moves this offseason, but I think Anthony Barr is one that the Titans should definitely be looking into. So next up, we have Dante Fowler, right? Dante Fowler Jr., formerly of the Jacksonville Jaguars and most recently the LA Rams. I am signing with the New York Jets. Fowler's a guy who's been linked to the Jets for, I feel like, forever. I mean, back in 2015, the Jets wanted him at pick number 6. He was off the board. Last season, they were trying to spark up a trade for him. Fowler for Teddy Bridgewater. There were some rumblings, some rumors, in that little department. Then at the trade deadline, the Jets were trying to trade like a third-round pick for Dante Fowler. He's finally going to hit the market. Mike Maccagnan can finally get his hands on his precious Dante Fowler, right? He could finally have his opportunity to sign his guy. Fowler's a guy who I loved at UF. I loved his tenacious attitude, his overall violent play style. This guy does not mess around. He will slam quarterbacks hard. He plays violent. Yes, that might cause some flags here and there, like unnecessary roughness and whatnot. But all in all, I really do believe that the New York Jets need that. You also take a look at the scheme fit, right? So Fowler is a perfect stand-up edge rusher in that 3-4 system. Wasn't the best fit in Jacksonville. Same in LA, and you could kind of make an argument, this guy doesn't have the best production in the world. But when you take a look at Fowler, what he can do as opposed to what he can't do, perfect system, 3-4. We cannot get after the passer worth a damn. I mean, the Jets could not get after any quarterbacks last season. Look at the division. Josh Allen, up-and-coming quarterback. New England Patriots, Tom Brady, one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Miami Dolphins, they could be getting a rookie quarterback. We've got to get after the passer. Dante Fowler makes a lot of sense for the New York Jets. Mike Maccagnan, they've showed a lot of interest in him. I do foresee the Jets signing Dante Fowler to a 3 to 4 year contract. Next up, we have Earl Thomas, safety from the Seattle Seahawks. And by the way, before I get into it, let's see. Video's going on 16 minutes here, so I know it's a longer one. I'm just trying to make it in-depth, so I appreciate everybody that's stuck around so far. But Earl Thomas, safety from the Seattle Seahawks, I have him signing with the San Francisco 49ers. I look at the 49ers right now, and they're sitting there in a weird position because they have their quarterback coming back. They have a ton of money in cap space. They have the second pick in the draft, high pick in the second round, right? Obviously, every round of the draft, they're going to have a high pick. I think Earl Thomas right now for the 49ers makes a lot of sense because he's almost disgruntled, right? He's disgruntled. It's really similar to Richard Sherman, former teammate back in Seattle, where they're just at their wits' end with the Seattle Seahawks organization, with Pete Carroll, that defense, and they just need to change the scenery. So what better team to go to than the rival? You see it all the time in sports, right? Where a guy's an amazing player for one franchise, and then at the end of his career, they do him dirty and he splits and he goes to a rival. Like you see it all the time. First one that comes to mind, Jason Taylor, Miami Dolphins to the New York Jets. I mean, you see it. It's all over sports. Darrelle Revis, even New York Jets, Patriots, but. In any case, Earl Thomas makes a lot of sense. They really need that safety. You're pairing him up next to one of his good friends in Richard Sherman. You're taking him away from a rival. And also, I really feel like defensive back is the biggest need for the 49ers right now. So with adding Earl Thomas at that safety position, you're getting leadership, you're getting an upgrade, and you also kind of take away that need to target one and draft one in this upcoming draft late April. So I really feel like Thomas makes a lot of sense, and on top of all that, you have the money to pay him. So makes a lot of sense. Earl Thomas to San Francisco. I could also see Dallas, maybe. Yeah, really just Dallas and San Fran. I feel like are the main two. Possibly LA Chargers, but really feel like it's down to the Niners and the Cowboys. Next up, last one on the list, Ndamukong Suh, defensive tackle from the LA Rams. This guy I really see going to the New England Patriots. It makes a lot of sense on paper. A versatile player, a powerful player. You see it all the time with these veteran players in the league like James Harrison. They kind of spend their career with one team and then they sign with the New England Patriots on a cheap little deal. I think the same thing's going to happen with Suh. He got all of his money, on his mega deal from the Miami Dolphins, so he has the money. He had a chance last season with the LA Rams to win a Super Bowl, didn't get there. I just see him joining the evil empire of the New England Patriots, who, that's a team right now that they could use a big run stuffer. All right, they could use a big run stuffer. So Suh to the Patriots makes a lot of sense. I don't think Suh's going to be asking for a lot of money, or I don't even think he should be either. So Ndamukong Suh to the New England Patriots, and really that just concludes the list. So I know I left out a few guys, but I just kind of wanted to cover the main ones, the biggest name free agents. And let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And it's going on 20 minutes, so I know I rambled on here, but I appreciate everybody that stuck around. So thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world. And as always, go Jets.